So it's official. The Los Angeles Lakers will be facing the Phoenix Suns in the first round, and this is obviously a big series because it will be featuring two title contenders in the first round in the Lakers and the Phoenix Suns. No series outside of maybe the Milwaukee Bucks and Miami Heat is like this, so we'll be seeing an elite brand of basketball being played in the first round. And for maybe the first time in NBA history, the 7th seed will be favored over the 2nd seed in the series. So in today's video, I'll be predicting who I think will win the series, the Phoenix Suns or the LA Lakers. The way this is going to work is that I'm going to give some reasons to why I think the Lakers can beat the Suns and some reasons to why I think the Suns can beat the Lakers. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to come to a conclusion to who I think will actually win the series and in how much games. But before we get into the video, I ask you to drop a like on this video as it does help my channel grow. Subscribe to my channel if you want weekly NBA content and to reach my goal of 1,000 subscribers, and comment on this video, start a conversation with me as I do respond to all of my comments, and play that intro. To start the video, since the Phoenix Suns are the higher seed, I'll start off with a reason to why I think Phoenix can beat the LA Lakers. And the first reason is because the Phoenix Suns in the regular season were proven to be one of the better defensive teams in the whole NBA. As during the regular season, they ranked as the 9th best defense in the NBA, which is above average. And against a team like the Lakers that is very good on offense, having a terrible defense is the absolutely last thing that you would want to have against them. The Phoenix Suns most likely won't get absolutely torched by the Lakers on offense, which will definitely help their chances of winning the series. The Suns have some solid defenders, as they have guys like Mikal Bridges, who will likely be guarding LeBron James. And if I'm being honest, I don't think he'll stop LeBron, but I think there will be some moments where he has good defensive moments. They also have Jay Crowder, who is an overall solid defender, but when it comes to guarding LeBron, throughout his whole career, LeBron just always dominates him. They also have DeAndre Ayton, who has made big strides this season on the defensive side of the floor. He's far from elite, but I would say he's a good defender now. And Chris Paul, as we all know, is a good defender. He's not like his old self, which was a person who could be on an all-defensive team, but he's definitely a good one. But surprisingly, this Suns team doesn't have a single defender that I would call elite, and they are still a good defensive team. And I think this is just because they're a great team defense, not necessarily a one-on-one defense, and that just shows how great their coach is in Monty Williams. So the Suns rotation and things like that will be fantastic in this series. They might not necessarily be great in one-on-one situations, but defending as a team is more important. And if the Suns want to win the series, it's going to be because their defense was very good. But in this series, the better defensive team is definitely going to be the LA Lakers, as the Lakers finished the season as the best defensive team in the NBA, and this is with them missing guys like LeBron James and Anthony Davis for large stretches of the season. So this team is going to be even better than Phoenix is on defense, because this Lakers team has the capability to absolutely lock them up. As we know, they have Anthony Davis, who when he tries is a top 5 defender in the league. His shot blocking and his great team defense and his ability to switch on the perimeter players is huge. And I think there's a chance that he might totally eliminate from DeAndre Ayton in certain games. And then they have LeBron, who in the postseason always ups his defensive intensity, so I think he will step up and make some big plays. Also, he just won't be a guy who you could easily score on and stuff. And I think down the stretch of games, you could put him on a guy like Devin Booker or Chris Paul, and he could have some success. They have a guy like Dennis Schroeder, who's an underratedly good defender, and I think he could do a good job guarding Chris Paul. He's not going to lock him down or anything, but he could do a solid job. They could put Kentavious Caldwell-Pope on Devin Booker, and KCP is also an underrated defender. He's not going to lock down Devin Booker, but I could see times where he gives him trouble. And guys like Alex Caruso, Talen Horton-Tucker, Wesley Matthews, and even Kyle Kuzma are all great to average defenders. So this Lakers team is absolutely going to lock the Suns up at time, and I think this will be a huge factor to whether or not they can win the series. The second reason the Phoenix Suns can beat the LA Lakers is the fact that Phoenix is also one of the best offensive teams in the league, and they have many guys who can shoot and space the floor at a good level. As in the regular season, they ranked as the 5th best offensive team in the NBA. And we all know they have Chris Paul, who's a guy who's gonna generate a bunch of wide open shots for his teammates. And he's just a guy who you should fear. And he has his mid-range shot, which seems unstoppable at times. They have Devin Booker, who's a guy who could go off for 30 or 40 points on any given night consistently. And I think he's a guy who will either play absolutely amazing in this series or play terrible in the postseason. We'll see what he's made out of. The Suns also have Mikal Bridges, who can space the floor at a good level and he can drive to the rim. They have Jay Crowder, who's a good three-point shooter. Frank Kaminsky and Dario Saric are stretch bigs. And Cameron Payne has underratedly been one of the better backup point guards in the NBA this season, as he's shooting over 40% from three, and he's just been really solid. So if we're being honest, if the Suns want to beat the Lakers, their offense is going to have to click against this great Lakers defense. They can't have games where they get caught missing wide open threes, and they're going to need Devin Booker and Chris Paul to play well and make a lot of plays for their teammates. And if they can do that, they have a chance to win the series, but if they don't really have a chance. The second reason I believe the LA Lakers can beat the Phoenix Suns is the fact that, in my opinion, although the Suns are a good team defense, they don't have great matchups to defend the Lakers' two superstars in LeBron James and Anthony Davis. And you might be thinking, is there even any team that can defend these two at a great level? And I would say the answer to that is no, because they are superstars, but at the same time, the Suns are far from the best to defend those twos. Because I assume they will either put Jay Crowder or Mikal Bridges on LeBron, and Mikal, I simply believe he will get abused by both of them. And also, LeBron will be in playoff mode, and I simply don't have that much faith in a third-year player to defend him. And as I said, Jay Crowder has been getting abused by LeBron his whole career. And on Anthony Davis, they will probably put DeAndre Ayton or Jay Crowder on him. And although Ayton could have a bit of success defending him on like post-ups and stuff, on the perimeter, there's no chance of Ayton being able to guard AD. And Jay Crowder might have the strength to not actually get bodied by AD, and he may be able to guard him on face-ups and stuff like that, but he lacks the height and size. There is a chance that Anthony Davis has one of those moments where he's just not aggressive, and that's the only way I can see him having a bad game. If he's gonna have a bad game, it's gonna be because of himself, not because the Suns defense is amazing, and that's definitely not a positive for the Suns. And no one's really gonna stop LeBron, but the Suns will get demolished by him. The third reason I believe the Phoenix Suns can defeat the LA Lakers is the fact that, as we all know, the Lakers just recently got healthy, and there was a large stretch of games where they played without their most important players. And that means their chemistry is far from 100%. So this series, the Suns won't be facing the Lakers teams that's clicking 100% on all ends, which is definitely an advantage to them, because I can see some games and moments where the Lakers turn the ball over a lot, mess up defensive rotations, and things like that. And there is a chance that LeBron James and Anthony Davis are still rusty, because in that game versus the Warriors, they looked really rusty at moments. And if they are rusty, it really increases the chance of the Suns winning by an astronomical amount. I'm not saying for sure that I think LeBron and AD will be rusty, but I think there's a big chance that they could. But at the same time, the Lakers are so good that even with them both being rusty, I can still see them beating the Suns. But if they're rusty, it will definitely improve the chances of the Suns winning, for sure. The third reason I believe the LA Lakers can beat the Phoenix Suns is simply because of the fact that the Suns are one of the younger teams in the NBA. This is a roster that has many key and important players that are young players. They have many players who have never even been to the playoffs, and I don't care what you say, playoff experience definitely matters to a certain degree. And against the defending championships, you're gonna need an advantage, and the Suns' inexperience definitely isn't an advantage for them. And I can see the Lakers exploiting it. I can see at least one of the Suns' young players performing terribly, because that's what usually happens in the postseason. Whether it's DeAndre Ayton, Devin Booker, Mikal Bridges, Cameron Johnson, or someone else, I guarantee you that one of those guys will have an atrocious series. For sure, one of them will have a bad series, and it could arguably be even more than that. If I had to guess who it will be, I would honestly put my money on either either Cameron Johnson or DeAndre Ayton, mainly because Cameron Johnson is mainly a shooter and there's a chance he might just fold under pressure and just not hit his shots, and DeAndre Ayton example is pretty obvious since he'll be defended by big men like Anthony Davis and Marc Gasol. But there is a legitimate chance that the Lakers game planning for Devin Booker is too much for him and he has a bad series. And if Booker has a bad series, I promise you the Suns are not winning the series. But to conclude the video, if I have to predict who will win the series, I would predict the LA Lakers to win in 6 games. I don't think it will be a super tight 6 games, but nonetheless it will go to 6 games. And this is because the Lakers are the way better defensive team and the Suns have no off answer for their 2 superstar players, whereas the Lakers have some solid matchups to guard the Suns star players. I also just have enough faith in LeBron to where I don't think he'll lose in the freaking first round because he never has before. If I'm being honest, this really sucks for the Suns because they had an amazing season, working hard to get the 2nd seed, and it just so happens that their terrible luck has led them to have to face the defending champions with the best player in the league in the first round. It truly does suck for them. I'm a Lakers fan and I honestly feel bad for them. But nonetheless, I think they will lose this series and I think the Lakers will get on a roll. Anyways guys, that's it for the video. Let me know who you think is going to win, the Lakers or the Suns. Drop a like on this video to help my channel grow. Subscribe to my channel if you want weekly NBA content and touch my goal of 1,000 subscribers. And comment on this video to start a conversation with me as I do respond to all of my comments. And I'm out.